of players, to go in for the next set of World Cup qualifiers against Ethiopia and South Africa. As the situation stands, definitely he would cut a few names off to make an eventual 25. But away from all of this, we're also taking a look at the big name players, how much value they have, and also those who've even had the new opportunities in the team, those who are making a return, those who are coming in from the Ghana Premier League, and what kind of value is being created around them. So what's the marketability of these players like? And what is the marketability of our own Ghana Premier League product? Remember that the Ghana FA has already stated that the Ghana Premier League will resume the new season in the month of October this year. So there is a lot of time to do a lot of work, but a lot of planning also has to be done. And, that marketing operation has to also be sorted out, because there are many conversations about how much the Ghana Premier League is drawing in terms of sponsorship and in terms of corporate interest. What is the reality on the ground as well? What is the positioning of the Black Stars team, which is the flagship product of the Ghana Premier League, of our football here in Ghana? We want to throw back to the year 2005, towards 2006, when Ghana qualified for her very first FIFA World Cup. And we want to ask ourselves, what was the team like in terms of value? What kinds of products were in the Black Stars team? Of course, we cannot compare that period to now, because of course we had very, very big names at the time. But what is the situation now? Is there something happening on the quiet that we do not know about in terms of the kind of attraction that the team or our products within our Ghana football are drawing? Sponsorship-wise, marketing-wise, that we do not know. These are things that we will get to learn when we have a conversation with the current marketing director, the very first of them, of the Ghana Football Association. Jamil Marabi comes to the table today with loads of years of experience in marketing, in communications, and in sports administration for that matter. He's a club owner. He is a marketing consultant, and most importantly, he is leading the marketing operation of the Ghana Football Association. He is the very first person to have occupied this kind of position, and he'll be telling us how his job is going and what we need to do going forward into the future so we can have bigger value around our Ghana Premier League, so that we can get to that stage where there will be bigger hunger from other parts of the world or other parts of the African continent to come and participate in our league. Just like our players go to, the DR Congos, just like our players go to South Africa, just like our players go over to Morocco and to Egypt, which have given proof that they have grown big products in their respective homegrown football leagues. What are we doing here? What is the situation like? So while we look at what is happening in the biggest leagues in the world, we want to throw the focus here on our Ghana Premier League and our players and the products. What is the state? How attractive is it looking? This is the Joy Sports Link, and it's here on Joy99.7 FM. My name is Nathaniel Atto. I'm ably backed and supported by the Joy Sports team, and we're going to be with you between now and 2 p.m. Well, and from a very Gadangme perspective, I'd like to call this the Homowo edition of the Joy Sports Link. Well, George Addo Jr. has been roaming in the United Kingdom, and he's been interacting with many fans of the various clubs in the English Premier League, and he's been bringing us some very wonderful reportage from the grounds. Well, he's put together a preview to some of the games in the English Premier League, the key ones of that, and we'll go for that. And after that, we zoom in on the conversation about the marketability and the level of attraction of our football product here in Ghana. Well, let's first take a listen to George Addo Jr. with the preview.
What a goal. That is beautiful. That is truly beautiful. That's why they're champions.
Manchester City have won 3 of the last 4 Premier League titles, and if they add Harry Kane to Jack Grealish by the time the transfer window closes, that should be big. But is that really quite so clear-cut as many good judges appear to believe? Well, behind Manchester City, the plot thickens, and the chasers go into the new campaign with realistic ambitions to knock the champions off their pitch. Chelsea beat Pep Guardiola's team in the Champions League final, have just won the Super Cup, and Thomas Tuchel is hopeful that Romelu Lukaku will add goals to an already gifted team. Manchester United, runners-up last season, believe that Jadon Sancho and Rafael Varane can help them win the first title since Sir Alex Ferguson retired in 2013. Liverpool with a packed Anfield again, and Virgil van Dijk back, will see no reason why they can't rediscover their champagne form of 2 seasons ago. So it promises to make for a fascinating season, particularly with full stadiums and the new VAR directives that, will put an end to the hated by a toenail offside calls and a few soft penalties. Look, last season, we had a record of 125 spot kicks. That was almost farcical, as players tumbled to the turf seemingly with every puff of the wind. The BBC's John Bennett is joining me for the special preview of the English Premier League season on The Locker Room tonight. John, thank you very much for your time. It's always a pleasure to have you, and I guess we are buzzing ahead of a new start of the season later tonight. Considering we've had some football in between, how would you describe the fans' anticipation?
Hi George, yes, happy new season. Yeah, it's wonderful to have the fans back. We got a little taste of it at the end of last season when some fans were allowed back for the final home matches of the season. So each club got one home match where there were fans in the stadium, but it wasn't full. For example, I was at Aston Villa Chelsea where there were 10,000 fans, and that sounded electric, to be honest, after going through, 15 months without supporters. So now with full stadiums, the atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric. 17 months these supporters have waited. We saw what the atmosphere was like during the European Championships. It's going to be wonderful to have the fans back, and I think some of the players will be looking forward to it. There'll be many players who signed for clubs and they haven't experienced the full home atmosphere, so I bet the players can't wait either. And it's going to be brilliant to listen to and watch this atmosphere at the Premier League grounds this weekend.
John, let's talk about the changes to the Premier League now, because we know there are new VAR directives that mean that there's certainly an end to the hated by toenail offside calls and all those soft penalties. How much of a difference will this make in the upcoming season?
Hopefully a lot of difference, because I felt that was slowing down the game, wasn't it? Particularly the offside decisions. We won't see the lines this year. I think that will take away a lot of the controversy. The benefit of the doubt will go to the attacking team as well, which is great. And yeah, we just don't like these toenail offsides when it's down to millimetres. It really was ruining the game. I like the fact that there'll be fewer soft penalties as well. For example, that penalty that England got in the Euros against Denmark, that wouldn't be given now, I'm told. So, I like these changes. And what we want to see is VAR working in the same way as it did during the Euros, when it's very quick, because it really has been spoiling the entertainment of games since it's been brought in. So I really hope it's a lot sharper, it's a lot quicker, as it is in the Champions League, as it is in UEFA international matches.
Yeah, I understand, John. There were a lot of heartbreaks for a number of teams, yes, including my Chelsea. Hopefully this season we can clear the path and get things running. But the transfer market is already appearing to be a very big one, with many names and big cash being splashed around. Have we seen the best of the window yet?
I still think there's plenty to come. I know we've seen big deals in England. For example, Romelu Lukaku, that deal being completed on Thursday, and the likes of Ben White, for example, going to Arsenal. But I still think there's a lot to happen. Obviously, the Harry Kane situation is still bubbling. That could set off a domino effect. I do think that Tottenham will spend. Arsenal, I think they'll be looking to bring in a couple more players. So, yeah, I still think there's a lot to be done in this transfer market in the final couple of weeks of the window. We have seen some big deals. Of course, the most high-profile deal was done not in the Premier League, but in Ligue 1, with Messi going to PSG on that free transfer with the astronomical wages. But I think it's going to be a busy final couple of weeks as clubs finalise their squads. It's a really difficult situation at the moment. Apart from Chelsea and Manchester City, the clubs are having difficulties because of what's happened over the last 17 months with the pandemic. Finances are tight, so there'll be some clever deals being done, hopefully, in the final 2 weeks of the window. I think it's going to be really busy.
So, John, let's do the analysis of who is likely to finish where this season. How difficult will the challenge of defending the title and looking for the elusive Champions League title get for Pep Guardiola and his Manchester City side, even with the possibility of signing Harry Kane?
Well, we know Manchester City are going to be strong, whether they get Harry Kane or not. It's bizarre to think that they could be title favourites without really a recognised number 9. I guess that's unfair on Gabriel Jesus, but for me, he's more of a wide attacker, to be honest. And I think Pep Guardiola sees him like that as well. If they brought in Harry Kane, that's a guaranteed 30, 35 goals if they keep him fit. And then they would be, by a long way, the title favourites. As it is now, I think Manchester City will have to work really, really hard to regain their title. We know that Chelsea will be really strong after the confidence they got from winning the Champions League, the way that Thomas Tuchel has really done well in his first few months in that job. The players seem to really respond to him. We know Liverpool will be strong again with the likes of Virgil van Dijk back, with Joe Gomez back. Ibrahima Konate is a fantastic defender as well. Maybe they haven't spent as much as some of their fans would have liked them to, but I really think they'll be back in the race. And Manchester United with Varane and Sancho. So it's not going to be easy for Manchester City, but right now I will put them as title favourites, whether they sign Harry Kane or whether they don't sign Harry Kane. If they do bring in Harry Kane, then they are the massive, massive favourites for me.
Well, definitely, John, we had to get onto this because my Chelsea are perhaps the team most likely to threaten the title winners, Man City. Now, this is a multi-talented squad, but we're only 8 highest scorers in last season's English Premier League. Now, Romelu Lukaku has been identified to solve that. The big signing is in, but how big is this move? And where does all of this leave Timo Werner in the Chelsea squad?
Yeah, it's huge. You've hit the nail on the head there, George. The problem for Chelsea was taking their chances. They created so many chances, particularly under Thomas Tuchel, who has really done well since coming in. I love the job he has done so far at Chelsea. He's doing wonderful work there. So, yeah, I expect them to do really well. Romelu Lukaku coming in after his great experience in Serie A, and they are going to be frightening this season. Where does it leave Timo Werner? I don't think he should worry too much because, as you know, he can be very good in the wide areas. And I think when you're in the Champions League, when you're competing on several different fronts, you'll want to rotate your squad. So I don't think Timo Werner should be too worried. I think they could play together. So I still think Timo Werner has got a huge part to play. And yeah, I'm hoping that we see some brilliant football from Chelsea. I'm really excited about watching them play this season.
Yeah, John, it will be very intriguing to see if we get the old Liverpool back. That Liverpool that waltzed to the title 2 seasons ago after the horrendous run in mid-season after some big injuries. Well, they managed to finish third in May. Remember that the return of Virgil van Dijk should be great. Also, the signing of Ibrahima Konate certainly will give them a bit more solidity in terms of their approach to the season. But a big question, John, is can Curtis Jones step up, right in the absence of Wijnaldum, who has left? How good will Klopp's men be this season?
Losing Gini Wijnaldum, I think, is a blow, and I'm sure Jurgen Klopp will really miss him. I think he's one of those players who will only work out his importance to the team once he's gone. But you're right, they do have some good young players coming through. In defence, they're going to be a lot stronger with Konate, who is a really quick player, very physically strong, good on the ball as well. I think he'll link up really well with Virgil van Dijk. They've still got Joe Gomez. They've still got Joel Matip. I'm hoping that Liverpool will be back to their best this season. The one thing that really gives me optimism is that for the first time in a long time, Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane have had a proper rest, haven't they, in this European summer? They were able to take their full holiday. They were able to get a full pre-season, something they haven't been able to do for a long time, because you think back to 2019, there was the Africa Cup of Nations. You think back to 2020, we had the pandemic, so it was a very shortened pre-season. They wouldn't have been able to get the holiday they wanted. They wouldn't have been able to get the work that they wanted done in pre-season. So I'm really looking forward to that front three firing again on all cylinders with Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah fully rested. I think those two will be in electric form this season.
So Manchester United, John, issued a big vote of confidence in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to hand him an extended contract to 2024. And also fans for Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho and Real Madrid's Rafael Varane. So it appears United should be in the mix at the top of the table at the end of the season. But the usual uncertainty over Paul Pogba, whose contract expires next June, hardly helps the situation, I think. Well, he looked very, very happy when I watched him at Old Trafford in the friendly against Everton. But, John, is this the year for United?
Yeah, I don't think the Paul Pogba situation will worry Manchester United too much because by all accounts he gets on really well with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So I don't think that is a huge worry at the moment for Manchester United. I think Solskjaer seems to get the best out of him, even when perhaps Paul Pogba may be thinking about a move next season. Everyone's talking about PSG, perhaps as being the club potentially he could go to. But the relationship that Solskjaer has with Pogba, I think, gives Manchester United a big advantage in that area. I think Jadon Sancho will be a great signing. He'll fit straight into the Premier League. Rafael Varane as well, with his experience, that can only be a positive if they can keep him fit. He's only 28. That should be peak years for a centre-half. So, you know, people are talking about him like he's a real veteran. I know he's had injury problems, but I think he'll fit in brilliantly alongside Harry Maguire. So I'd be confident if I was a Manchester United fan this season. The only thing is, have they got the same quality in midfield that Chelsea have, that Man City have, that Liverpool have? I slightly am concerned about their midfield with McTominay and Fred, who are good players, but are they the quality players that are really going to be strong enough to help win you the Premier League?
Arsenal next, John, and the £50 million addition of Brighton and England defender Ben White. Well, it's a sort of statement, signing the Gunners' need. But much more is required, certainly, after the consecutive 8th-place finishes. Not good enough. The youngsters like Bukayo Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe are only going to get better, and we understand that. But will Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang rediscover his form? And will Thomas Partey stay fit? That will be the two key questions, John. What is realistic in terms of expectation for Gunners who are listening to us now?
Yeah, it's tough to know what to expect from Arsenal. You, as a fan, if you're an Arsenal fan, you'd be thinking, let's try and get into the top 6. Top 4, I think, is beyond them at the moment. I can't see them getting into the top 4. I don't think many of their fans see them getting into the top 4. But get back into the top 6, get back into Europe. The fact they're not playing in Europe could really help them. The players will be rested. They won't have this Thursday to Sunday routine every week. Mikel Arteta, who we're told is a fantastic coach, will be able to work with these players on the training pitch. So I think realistically, let's see for Arsenal to get back into the top 6. That's what they should realistically be hoping for. I think top 4 really out of the question.
John, there are surely difficult times right now for Spurs, up North London, with so much hinging on the outcome of the Kane saga. At least they have added Sevilla winger Brian Gill, the Atlanta defender Christian Romero. But can you trust Nuno Espirito to keep cool heads? And how do they go about replacing Harry Kane? That's if he gets to go to Man City.
Yeah, it's just very, very difficult to predict what's going to happen with Tottenham. Nuno Espirito Santo is a fantastic manager. He can organise teams. He's a very good man manager. The Wolves players really responded to his man management. He'll always defend the players as well in the press. But, of course, you've mentioned it. Harry Kane, the shadow of Harry Kane hangs over Tottenham. They need to sort that out before they can move on. They've made some decent signings, haven't they? That you've mentioned there. Romero, I think, is a brilliant player. He did really well for Atalanta. I think he's going to help strengthen Tottenham. But while the Harry Kane situation isn't solved, while we don't know if he's going to be in the team, what sort of Harry Kane they will get, whether they can bring in a couple of players if Harry Kane leaves, it's very difficult. I think Tottenham need to know one way or the other what's happening with that situation.
Well, John, we can't leave the newly promoted sides out of it. They're looking to try and impact the English Premier League. The likes of Norwich, Brentford and Watford. How good will they be, though?
Norwich, I feel, will be a lot better than they were a couple of seasons ago. I think they've learnt from that experience. I think they've made some good signings as well in the transfer window. I'm not saying they're going to finish top half or anything like that, but I could see them escaping relegation. It's going to be interesting, that first game against Liverpool, to see how strong they will be at home at Carrow Road in front of their own fans who create a really good atmosphere there. I think Norwich could escape relegation. I worry about Watford. I just don't think they've got the quality in their team to stay up, and I could see them going back down to the Championship this season. Brentford, a bit of an unknown quantity. We just don't know how they're going to respond in the Premier League. I like the way that Thomas Frank works, their head coach. I love their recruitment, the philosophy of the whole club. I really enjoy the way they work, but yeah, I'm struggling to really predict what's going to happen with Brentford. There are a few teams that I think will struggle this season. The likes of Southampton, for example, could be in real trouble. So, and let's go for it. I'll make a prediction. I think 2 of those 3 teams will stay up. I think Norwich and Brentford may well stay up.
New season. Let's go through them then. Manchester United will play against Leeds at Old Trafford. Chelsea up against Crystal Palace at Stamford Bridge. Manchester City will play Spurs at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London. And of course, we've got the opener, Brentford and Arsenal. What are we to expect?
Yeah, Manchester United Leeds was a cracker last season, wasn't it? 6-2. Manchester United won. These 2 are old rivals. The fans don't like each other. It's going to be a fiery atmosphere at a full Old Trafford. Chelsea, Crystal Palace. I like the look of Crystal Palace this season. Patrick Vieira's come in as manager. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to change from the Hodgson style to the Vieira style. It won't happen overnight, but I like the signings they've made. I think they could surprise a few people, Crystal Palace. Manchester City, big favourites against Tottenham. Obviously, that we've talked about the Harry Kane situation, making Tottenham's pre-season very difficult. They still have good players, Tottenham, but City surely should be too strong. The one worry for City is, will their star players be at 100% after their break following the various international tournaments that they took part in during the European summer? And Brentford against Arsenal, well, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? When you're a promoted team, your first few games are so important because you carry that momentum from last season. So Brentford will want to make a really good start, and the pressure will be on for Arsenal if they don't make a good start. Top 4 predictions, I think I'm going to be predictable, I'm afraid. I think Manchester City will win the title. Chelsea will be 2nd. Liverpool 3rd. Manchester United 4th. My Leicester City just missing out again, I think. Top scorer, Romelu Lukaku. You can't look past him. What a signing he will be if he stays fit. I think he's going to be top scorer. And wish everyone at Joy FM all the best for the new season. And I hope the listeners really enjoy the season as well. It's going to be fantastic.
Thank you very much, John, for your time. And we look forward to the special English Premier League season. Big shouts to Pete, Ian, Sarah, Mars, Lee, Ross, Jamie, and the entire team putting together the special shows for us, talking about Sports World on the BBC World Service. And the English Premier League commentary from around the grounds, as we know we were promised from the BBC. And of course here on Joy FM, the locker room, the BBC Two Ways and all. Well, I hope that Chelsea gets to win the Premier League title. That's my prediction, of course. I don't know what you think, John. But I would say to everyone listening to us on the show tonight, good luck to everybody. There's more to come next week when we bring you another edition of The Locker Room.
Junior there with a comprehensive preview ahead of the start of the season, and of course I loved that prediction. It's a little at variance with mine. We're putting Manchester City at the front. I'm putting Chelsea there at the front. And here with me in the studio is a man of many parts, especially when it comes to sports administration, sports marketing, and football administration for that matter. Grown several years of experience, in excess of 20 years of experience when it comes to player management, football club administration, the sealing of various deals of various different values. And he comes very, very well aligned for this conversation that we want to have, looking at the examples that we've seen in the past week of very big leagues, which definitely are the standard when it comes to aspirations. Jamil Marabi, he is the pioneering marketing director of the Ghana Football Association, here with me on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Jamil, good to have you. It's good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
And I love that jersey, you know.
Yes. I'm sure you're proud of it.
Yeah. And we're going to come to that and its sale and its availability in other parts of the world related to what the Black Stars are doing. But just before we get into the conversation, you're an Arsenal fan, right?
Wrong time to admit. Yes,
Well. It didn't start well for you yesterday. But hey, it doesn't... I mean, the start can be jerky, but hey, I mean, big deal.
no, but we have not invested, so the outcome was expected. We didn't expect to do even well. And like yourself and the other pundits, I don't think Arsenal, we should expect even to be in the top 6 for me, actually.
Oh, okay.
Maybe top 8.
But for you, who's winning it? For me, it's Chelsea, definitely.
Yes, after watching Chelsea, I think Chelsea had the possibility, but I still think that Man City would win it.
Okay, let's see how it goes. The records will always be there. And of course, greetings to all of our friends who are joining us on YouTube and this on Joy99.7FM on YouTube. So just share the page, join us. Let's have this conversation together about the level of marketability of our players, our football product, and the players that we're offering for, our league and our national assignments as well. Yesterday, the Black Stars coach named a preliminary list of players who will be getting ready for our 2 major assignments for World Cup qualifiers against Ethiopia and South Africa. And as he announced the list, something just struck me about how much star power we have in there and how it is also translating in what we draw financially or sponsorship-wise to the Black Stars team, and by extension to the Ghana Premier League product. Now, the Ghana Premier League is in recess, and the Ghana FA has also announced that in October, everything will roll off to a start. Now, how are we preparing ourselves on the lines of sponsorship, and what is the realistic situation on the ground? The reason we're having this conversation here. Join us with your thoughts. It's +233 55 11 11 997 or 055 11 11 997. As simple as that. Jamil, what would you say about interests and the improvement in the numbers that showed interest in the Ghana Premier League in the last season, from your own assessment?
And numbers, and what do you mean by the numbers?
I'm talking about numbers
values?
in terms of, the interest alone that was shown. Because, we got a lot of... I saw a lot of people who necessarily will not be interested in football getting interested, asking for tickets to go watch games. Some even asking for jerseys to buy.
Precisely, yes. And you're right. I think even during this time of COVID, lots of people wanted to consume sport or TV, especially when we were at home.
Sure.
And, the appetite for football had built up. And don't forget that the new FA rolled out the campaign to bring back the love in football, and it included our digital platforms, and we pushed the narrative of bringing back the love. We did everything we could and still doing for the interest to build up. And just before the COVID, there's only one game that you can use to judge what's happening in Ghana football, and it's no secret, it's the Hearts Kotoko game. And if you remember, just before COVID, we had a Hearts Kotoko game. And for the first time in many years, you couldn't even walk or park your car towards the Black Star Square to get to the stadium. I remember it was crazy, it was mad. And it's a good sign. And then soon after that, of course, COVID came in March and we had to shut down. But still, the appetite is still there. You can see again, even the Hearts Olympics game. A Hearts Olympics game before will bring about 5,000, 3,000 fans. But if you look at that game, the 25% which were allowed, it was there. I think the fans came. So I think we are doing something right. The FA, meaning when I say we, the FA is doing something right, and if you look closely, you can see the signs.
Now, let's talk about the conversations that have gone on in the background. We were very optimistic ahead of the start of last season for interests, considering that we had a new plan, we had a mantra bringing back the love. I mean, everybody was sort of tired of the last season where we were not playing any football. Players wanted to play, the fans wanted to consume, just like you said. What were the indications that came regarding interest from sponsors and potential sponsors
Yes, you said,
when we were about to start the
yes.
season? Yeah.
So, as a marketer, when you go into the market and you speak to corporate Ghana, you get the feels, because you go for drinks with the CEOs and the general managers and the marketing managers. So they are the same people that, if the football is going well, they feel it, right? So once you approach them, you get the sense that, yes, the time is right, they want to do it. What are the values? What benefits would you give them? And then they run the numbers, and if the numbers works well for their company and they have the budget, they will put in the money. So all in all, it's fine, but I think that the economy itself is tight, and COVID has not helped us. So a lot of the companies don't have the budget in terms of capacity to give us what we want for the Premier League, because the standards have been set for the Premier League. I think the minimum that we can go will be like $1 million. I don't think we can accept lower than that, to be honest, because the past we've had even 2-3 million from Glow. So its interest is there.
And of course, the defunct Capital Bank also put in 1 million per season, and at a certain point it was cut. It was cut off. The whole deal was cut off.
Yes,
yeah,
because of the whole economic situation. Yes, and even the last one was the xylophone. I think xylophone cash,
Sure.
and that was supposed to be $1 million as well. So there's a standard there that we can't fall below. And if you look at our economic situation, which are the companies that can give us the 1 million or 2 million, even 3 million that we desire? It's a few. The beverage companies can do it. The cellular companies can do it. The oil and gas companies, the mining, they can do it. But these are the few, And then if you look at even the beverage companies, at the moment they can't, because the restrictions on FDA doesn't permit that. So we've lost a whole sector that can give us funding.
So once again, you're just saying that when it comes to that mark of $1 million, I remember very well that the FA president, Kurtu Kweku, stated at a certain point that we needed roughly like $3 million to run every season.
Very good,
right?
yes.
Okay. Clearly, that cannot be achieved immediately because of the factors that you've outlined. But these beverage companies, you said, some of them are willing to sponsor, but the FDA is always a challenge.
Yes, it is. I mean, this from my experience personally, when we go to the market, they are and interested, and they can afford it because of their numbers. I mean, millions of people drink their brand. So if you do your math on it, the beverage companies can sponsor, but if the restrictions are there that you can't advertise your alcoholic beverage during the day, you can't put it in a sporting product, then obviously it's cut off, right? So you can't even bother yourself and go and approach them. So we need to have the conversation. In fact, I think we are doing it. In fact, we are. The FA is doing it behind the scenes. They are having conversation with the government to help us to stimulate the areas. Because if they assist us in that way, not necessarily we want them to give us the funds. No, we're not saying that, but they can assist us in terms of stimulation, which they are. So we are working behind the scenes to make the case, and get our facts right, so that we can encourage them to assist, to stimulate it for us, so that we can approach corporate Ghana to support us. But I think it's achievable. It will come. We just started, because remember, there's not been football in Ghana for maybe 3 years. The ANAS expose came. The normalization was not a full league, not a proper league. Then COVID came again. And then we've been shut down. So this is the first time. Congratulations to all the teams and my colleagues at the competition department for, running us through a successful season after, I would say, 3 years. So I think the onus is on us to, to continue to push relentlessly until we succeed in getting the values we want and the targets we want for our clubs. And the Premier League is our top brand, and we are hoping that we can achieve that in due time.
Is the absence of star power in the Ghana Premier League anything of concern? Does it come up in
It
conversations?
assists, for sure,
sometimes?
it assists, but that's not. I think if you're a marketing person, you know that football is emotions, sport is emotion. So what we're selling is emotion. What you consume is emotion. So the star power assists. Yes, it does make a difference, but it's not the only factor. And with it or without, it will still be a pull. You see, so the star power will be when the Premier League can afford to pay players a decent wage. Once that happens, then you know that players will be here a bit longer before they are sold. But it's part of the marketing and business strategy of clubs. They have to sell.
So Jamil, this just goes to say that while we make frantic efforts to grow the product, there is also the very big threat of having quarter-baked stars jump out earlier than we expect them to.
Certainly, because if our league is appetizing and it's attractive, you know, online, everybody's online. The FA has a very busy online website. The agents and clubs are scouting and looking around. So as soon as the players begin to perform and the statistics are showing that, you know, they're top of the game, and quickly the interests are there. And when the interest is there, the club is, I mean, it only makes sense. They have to sell to raise the resources for them to run their clubs. But again, you see, the clubs are doing well with the help of our licenses department to set the standards, okay? So once your standards are there, it doesn't matter whether it's John or Kwame playing, even if they go and there's a replacement, it will still be enticing and you know, sweet to watch.
If you just joined us, this is the Joy Sports link on Joy99.7 FM and on all of our digital channels, including our YouTube page. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and here with me is the pioneering marketing director of the Ghana Football Association, Jamil Marabi. We're taking a look at the level of attractiveness of our football and how all of it can work together to grow, you know, the financial lot of our football. We're also looking at the kinds of products that generally we're producing, Ghanaian players generally around the world. What kinds of players we have in the Black Stars now, their level of attractiveness, on the commercial front, and how all of this goes to feed into attractiveness and who wants to be part of the journey of our national teams and of our clubs and of the players themselves. Send in your messages. Let's talk as well. It's +233 5511 or 0551111 We'll be sharing some of your messages with you as well, and of course we'll also be getting on the phone lines and picking some expert thoughts as well on this matter. All right, now let's also look at this part of the conversation. Now we've had some decent moves. We've had a few players come in there, and obviously because of the size of our league and the economic strength of our league, we cannot be mentioning millions of dollars like it's done in DR Congo, in Egypt, and in South Africa and the like. Now, do you feel that our clubs are also pulling their weight? We're discussing the issue of Lionel Messi and how his movement to Paris Saint-Germain generated so much money within a very short period of time. Obviously, the star power here, we don't necessarily have that. But I would like to praise the likes of Abdulhai Yate, who's not in the Ghana Premier League, yet is doing very, very well when it comes to merchandising, providing merchandising for a club that is not even in the top tier of Ghana football. When it comes to merchandising, do you feel that our clubs are pulling their weight heavily enough?
No, but they know what to do, but they are not yet doing it because, again, I don't think the platform is right, and everything needs to work together in sync. It can't work on its own. Okay, so when everything is working properly, which means the excitement is there, the leagues are there, then you get people wanting to, wear the jersey of their favorite club. So the clubs know what to do, and then some of them are doing it, and they're doing a good job. I don't want to mention names to be unfair, but some of the clubs are doing a good job, and they do have replica jerseys. If you want, you can be able to purchase them.
Now, when you say this can't work on its own, everything has to be in sync, I need you to explain a little further.
Okay, so I mean, the platform, right? The platform
Okay.
has to be right. So the platform is the Ghana Premier League. So how we organize it, how attractive it is, how is our broadcast partners, how are they portraying our game, how is the production, how is the outreach? How many people watch the game per week? Is it free to air? How many people watch it on streaming? Is it being broadcast on multiple platforms? Okay, so now once we know that X, Y, and Z and millions of people are consuming, then easily now the clubs can also adjust themselves and say, okay, you know what? Now we have our replica jerseys for sale. They can advertise it on their own private websites or together with the FA or during game days because now the stadiums are full and not just because of a hard protocol game. And then now the sales generate. Now people want the jerseys. You can see the colors. You can see the texture. You can see the quality. Even if it's from China, it's a grade A brand.
Grade A, yeah.
Exactly. So if all this is together, that's what I meant by it needs to work together, and then everything will fix. So we're starting from the bottom, which is to make sure our league is in the right position, and then you see that everything will fit.
So as we go along, I guess that you readily have some of the figures. You have some of the figures off the top of your head, regarding the number of eyeballs that we're able to attract on a weekly basis in our Premier League, roughly, and all of that, physical, virtual, and all of that.
Yes, we do. I mean, in fact, that's how I send out the proposal. That's how our consultants, we have a lot of agencies also assisting us, and
Okay.
when they come, they want the material. They
Sure.
they want documentation, they want numbers. So I'm able to help and assist. I think even I called you about a year ago when
Sure.
I took office, even just for you to assist me with some numbers in
Sure.
terms of listenership. So
Sure.
we know how many people listen to commentary. We have an average of that. We have an average of how many eyeballs through start times. We can tell on the app how many people are viewing it online. Through the TV free to air, we know how many people watch Max TV. So yes, you know your numbers, and it's encouraging. It's encouraging. Max TV, for example, without the Premier League, their viewership would not be where it is today.
I see.
Start times as well. Without the product of the Premier League, start times would not be able to generate as much revenue as without it.
I see. Sending your messages. I can see some of the messages. We'll be sharing some of them as we go along. Don't worry about that. Just make sure you're sending them in. It's 055-1111-997. Now, we've been reached on the phone line by the chairman of the local organizing committee of the Ghana 2008 AFCON tournament, which was a hugely successful one, based on which the likes of Angola also organized theirs. He also served as the president of the normalization committee of Ghana football, which eventually run the sport and organized a successful election, which saw the start of the work of the Kurt Okriko administration. Dr. Kofi Amoah joins us on the line. Citizen Kofi, he's known in public circles as well. Senior citizen, thank you so much for your time here on the Joy Sports Link.
Thank you, Citizen Ato, and my greetings to my brother and friend Jamel.
Sure.
How are you doing, Jamel?
Fine, thank you, Doc. Pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, good to hear your voice.
Thank
And obviously, you have a lot of numbers at your fingertips, and that is great.
Sure.
The comment I want to make,
Sure.
and you already alluded to it. You said free air. How many of our games will be free to air? This is very fundamental in rebuilding Ghana football. Because if you are not able to generate enthusiasm in the community of football lovers, then the sponsorship revenue will be very, very small. Now, look at the last Kotoko Hearts match. A great spectacle of football over in Ghana. But you are limited to only a few people who went to the stadium. And how many TV sets in Ghana have StarTimes boxes? And therefore, I think that, yes, the FA needs some sponsorship money to give to the clubs and all that. But we must look long-term in rebuilding Ghana football and to get the enthusiasm of the football fans who cannot come to the stadium to watch television. So that when a company in Ghana wants to advertise, they have the numbers. How many people are going to see the game? So that's the comment I want to make. I've had this discussion with FA in the past. When we were doing the normalization tournament, Star Times came in, wanted to give us $100,000, and we rejected that. And aligned with BBC, who did a fantastic job in producing the market and getting the market viewed all across the length and breadth of the country. I think if you want to resuscitate Ghana football, we have to get it back on television set so that the enthusiasm will be generated again and corporate Ghana will come forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. But just before you take leave of us, I'd want to know what the look and feel is like from where you sit regarding general interest in our local game and general interest in the other, the results, the movements, the everyday stories that are generated and all of that.
Well, I mean, the two of you have already said some of the most fundamental things about failing a football enterprise. Number one, you have to look at club licensing statutes. Each of these clubs in the country must obey the club licensing statutes, and that requires some serious investment. Training grounds, paying the players well, motivating them. There's a lot of players who are dreaming to go outside Ghana, and a lot of times when we talk to them, it's not because they want to live here in the country. It's because of the salaries are not interesting, and even the frequency of pay is questionable. And therefore, I think that the football clubs in Ghana need to find a way to attract more investment into their club so that these facilities will be available. I'll call for the Ghana government to invest $300 million in the Ghana football enterprise. Because obviously, we do have, it's like Akoko, we do have some talent in this game. But if we don't invest in it, as you both know, football is a kind of business that you have to invest in the front end to reap at the back end. And therefore, if you look at the Ghanaian clubs and they don't have it, there's got to be a creative way that we can support, subsidize, cheap loans to get them going. And when they get going, all the clubs have to be at a certain level. If Kotoko and Hearts alone are doing well, they are playing with all the others, But to be direct with your question, we see that this last league was very competitive, very, very competitive. And that is a good sign. But at the same time, the basic fundamental thing for football club enterprise must be there. And that is the proper investment into the clubs.
Doc, thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you and your thoughts here on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Dr. Kofi Amwa led the Normalization Committee of Ghana Football ahead of the election of the current administration led by Kurt Okreku, bringing his thoughts there about what he feels we should be doing so we could create a more marketable league and also create even bigger enthusiasm and excitement around our local game. As we go along as well, we'll be bringing you certain updates from around the world when it comes to the football as well. I'll be doing some of your messages. I have those who are, doing their predictions as well of the top four and how it's going to wrap up, in the EPL. And I'll be going through them as well. And there are many other messages around our subject for today. I'll be going into them as well. So let's get into our messages now. It's 055 1111997, 055 1111997. Okay, so this one is from Giorgio in Tema. It says, "Good afternoon, Nat. My top four teams are Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United, and Leicester City." Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. This other one is from Ajiban Joseph in Community 9 in Tema. He says, "Good afternoon, Nat. Please, I want to know if sponsoring a football team means it will be profitable to the sponsor and how." Okay, my guest has answered that question in part already, but we'll come back to it again. No problems. This one is from Wilson in Capitol Hill, Lomnava. Okay, there's a Capitol Hill in Ghana. Okay. How could our legal tender be cedis yet we're quoting sponsorship money in dollars when spending will be in cedis and the targeted sponsors are locally based? Secondly, when it comes to the enthusiasm that is engulfing our football lately, it's largely because of the consistent efforts put in by the Hearts management and their determination to push the boundaries to win a double, and that cannot be overlooked. The moment Hearts went on top, the dynamics changed drastically. Hey, okay. All right, thank you very much for that message. Would address that as well here in the studio. 055 1111997. 055 1111997. Let's do another set of messages here. Okay, so there's this one that says it's from Godwin in North Kanishi. Citizen Nato, good show as usual. Thank you very much. The FA man in your studio, well, this is Jamil Marabi, the marketing director of the Ghana FA. He seems to be praising the huge interest in the just ended GPL in their mantra of bringing back the love. But I beg to differ. Watch it whenever Hearts and Kotoko are doing neck and neck for the league. Interest is always there. And I believe credit should be given to the local media for shifting interest from the European League to our local one. The GFA has failed miserably, a league without a significant sponsor, and you expect us to take it serious. He's talking about big pay by the clubs, but what sponsor have they brought on board? Or he thinks it's easy to run a football club. Well, look at the laughing stock they put to Hearts, the key holder of medals that they gave to Hearts. Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Godwin North Kanishi, for that message. There's some feedback in there, so we'll address all of those. Okay, Jamil, let's come to the issue of sponsors and reaping directly the benefits, because a lot of sponsors and their brands are at that stage where they've gone past infiltration and they are at the peak and they are looking forward to making big, profits and revenue. Okay, so he's asking about the direct, benefits that club sponsors are going to get when they sponsor our clubs.
In terms of cash, he's talking about
Sure.
Yes, I mean, you see, he's not in the industry, so he's looking at it from far. I mean, when did we start the league?
Sure.
And how quickly do you think humanly possible it is for us to achieve and get the kind of millions of dollars we want? We just finished one league, okay? So we do have people who want to sponsor the league, but it's not to the amount that we want. So do you think that we can accept $100,000
for the season?
Thank you very much. We can't. We can't accept 200. We can't accept 300. We can't accept 500. If we accept 500,
okay, so
then we need about 3, 4, or 5 sponsors together, bring in 500. Then we can run the Premier League. But we can't just take one sponsor giving us 500,000 or 300,000 or 200,000 and accept it. We can't, because we will devalue our product, and we believe that the Premier League is of that stature where we need 3 million. Minimum, we have done our budget, we have our numbers. Minimum, what we need is 3 million to assist the clubs, and then the clubs can get their own personal sponsors, to support them. But that doesn't mean that we're not working. We're still, working hard to try and get the money that we need to assist our clubs.
So $3 million will mean around 18 million Ghana cedis, right?
Yes, currently.
Okay, 18 million Ghana cedis. And one of the texters was asking about why we're pricing in dollars when the actual spend is in
inflation.
Yeah.
I mean, he should know that. The question he's asking is if he knew, he wouldn't even ask us that question. It's inflation. If you peg your money in dollars, doesn't matter what happens, you still get your value. I mean, I just want to go back a few years to the MTN FA Cup.
Sure.
When we did the deal, it was supposed to be a $1 million, I remember. And then George Under was very smart. George Under, on the eve of the signing, said, no, change it to cedis. And at that time, the rate was 1 for 1, if you remember.
Exactly.
1 cedi for $1. Before I had moved 1-0. So when we did that, what happened? It became 1 million cedi. But it was $1 million at that time. And today, what is 1 million cedi? So we are treading on dangerous ground. So we'll always peg it on the dollar.
Exactly.
To safeguard ourselves.
Okay. Now, there was the feedback, and I saw those images on social media. The bit about the medals that we gave out, for the winner of the Premier League and the winner of the MTN FA Cup.
Yes, I mean, advice has been well taken. We've heard everything that's gone online, and the conversations around it. So, advice well taken. In the future, we'll tread very, very cautiously, extremely cautiously, and ensure that it doesn't repeat itself in terms of quality and standard. So we're working with our sponsors as well and make sure that the next time we do such a thing, it will be of a different quality.
So basically, for as long as you're not getting the required figures or the required minimum, you will go without. You'd go without. You go without a headline sponsor. That's basically it.
I mean, yes, we're working on it. We're working on it, but we can't accept a headline sponsor to give us an amount that we think that the product doesn't deserve. It's how we package our product. If we make that mistake and give away headline sponsorship for anything less than that, we're doing ourselves harm. See, and that's why if you look at our national team games, the Black Stars, if you see our venue is branded, full of advertisers.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that very shortly. It's a very key part of this conversation that we're going to come to. But let's also quickly talk about that bit about the media and what the media has contributed to this season and the push that it has given the Premier League.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. The media is key. Without the publicity from the media, which is TV, radio, and on all the other digital platforms, I mean, no one can consume the product. And like Doc said, I mean, Doc is a brain in business. So he hit the nail on the head. If people can consume it and watch it in millions, you will not get the numbers and the people to sponsor. Okay, so the media is key, and the media has been doing a good job. My only problem is that the media focus and trumpet the negativity 3 times as much as they do for the positive. So when it's positive, they will say it, yes. But when it's negative, they'll do it about 10 times. Okay, and then they have to understand that it affects the brand. And for me, I see it and feel it directly more than anybody because of my position. So the week that there's so much negativity, if I go out on that week, everything, it's so difficult because everybody has heard it. The man I'm speaking to behind who has the money, he just heard it on the radio. So it's now a wrong time for me to go. So, normally we thread the airways, we listen. If it's too negative, I wouldn't even bother, or the consultants wouldn't even bother to go out to the market because everywhere around is negative. So we wait for it to settle down and then we go. So the media should continue to assist us and thread and know that the product is for all of us. It's including the journalists and the guys because they also want sponsors for their sports programs. So you too, if you're damaging the product, how would people also come and sponsor your sports show? So it's for all of us. It's not just for the federation or the clubs. It's for the media personnel as well.
Okay. But obviously, when something is wrong as well, it must be talked about.
Exactly.
Only that you're saying that
it's amplified like 10 times more than when it's positive.
So we should just make sure that we balance it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, because it's for you as well.
Yeah.
It's not just for the association.
You're still here on the Joy Sports link on Joy99.7 FM. I'll do a few more messages. Remember, it's 055 11 997. Good afternoon, citizen Ato. This is an interesting topic you have today. Rwanda is rubbing off the Messi transfer to Paris. Visit Rwanda shirt sponsorship is visible each time the team plays to the millions of eyeballs watching, especially on Leo Messi. The indirect sponsorship of sports coming to Rwanda is massive, not football alone, but benefiting various sectors of the economy. I'm thinking this is not difficult for Ghana to do. This is from Mark in Ashongman. And that reminds me of the period when Ghana played for the very first time in the FIFA World Cup and how attempts were made, before that, to place certain ads on CNN. At the time, yes. I remember, way before 2006, the 30-second ads on CNN yes. were in excess of $2.5 million per ad.
At that time, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was crazy. But if you take notice, you realize that Visit Ghana and the Tourism Authority, if you look at it for over the years now, past 1 year, I think, they've been partnering with us in terms of advertising.
Great.
So there's conversations behind the scene as well with the authority to use football to project Ghana
exactly.
tourism. Yes. So we're talking with them and we're slowly getting there. But if you notice all our Black Star games, you see panels of Visit Ghana and Beyond the Return being advertised. So I think eventually we'll get there. when it comes to tourism in football.
Okay, I think it's a good time to talk about the Black Stars. We got, the Ghana FA's, the coach of the Black Stars, beg your pardon. He named his squad, his preliminary squad for the assignments in, that are coming up, the World Cup assignments against Ethiopia and South Africa. And I'm now throwing back quickly to the period before we qualified for the first World Cup. At that time, we had attracted some very good sponsorship, a headline sponsor in Goldfields, Ghana. At the time, they were shaping the dream. We had an Umbro sponsorship from the kids sponsorship from Umbro. The Black Stars even had a meal sponsor at the time. I mean, there was a beverage sponsor as well. There was a telco sponsor. So it was attractive at the time. What's happening this time? I mean, post the Brazil 2014 World Cup and the troubles that happened and all of that, what's been happening that we do not necessarily know about? Because we also see the advertising panels, so meaning something is happening.
Yes, you see, the Black Stars is, how do I say it? It's safer to invest in.
Okay.
And what do I mean by safer? There's not likely to be a controversy with our national team, unlike the Premier League. Okay. And you saw what happened towards the end of the season. So companies are easily willing to follow the national team than the Premier League. It's very obvious when you go to them, straight away they want the Black Stars because it's safer. Okay, so but with the Black Stars, it is expensive. And so I was going back to what I was telling you about the values. Okay. So when it comes to advertising, it's lower. How much is a pitch panel? How much is a stadium branding compared to sponsorship? Okay, when you want to sponsor our national team, we have categories, and it all comes with a benefit. So depending on how much you want to give us, we'll categorize you as a partner, or as a headline sponsor, or as a gold or platinum or bronze, however you. Okay, so we've structured it that way. So when it comes to advertising, it's much cheaper. That's why you can get companies like the Tampicos and the Fun Milk or Vita Milk or Souvenir. They can all afford it because it's just advertising. I mean, Joy FM can also afford it and put a panel. But when it comes to sponsorship, it's a different ballgame, right? But again, if you look at our national team, we do have sponsors. I mean, you look at Awake. Awake is our official water partner, okay? I won't give you details of the sponsorship, but they do sponsor, okay? We have Puma, who's also sponsoring us. And when we took over, I think the president of the association went to, that was his first meeting to Puma to see how they can assist us more, to get it.
Okay, now, before we go on, I remember very well that at the, and this was at the South Africa 2010 FIFA World Cup, even at that time when the Black Stars were doing well in that tournament and there was a lot of buzz around the Black Stars, it was difficult to get, the paraphernalia in the shops. I remember at the OR Tambo Airport, for instance, I walked through some of the shops, and I mean, obviously you could see those of the big names, the big countries. Sorry, the big name brands and the big nations. I beg your pardon. They were available. Yes. We couldn't get it. What's the thing with the distribution bit of the conversation with Puma?
Okay, so we've had conversations with Puma, and what we've told them was that the cost and the value of the jersey, if you translate it into Ghana cedis and we want to sell it here, it will be too expensive. I think currently if you go online, the Ghana jersey is about 90 euros. So you can buy the Ghana jerseys online on the Puma store, okay? But 90 euros, if you do the calculation, it's a lot of money. So what the executives of the FA are trying to do is to discuss with Puma to perhaps do a special production line that will be much cheaper, and then we can have distributors sell them here. The FA is not in the business of selling. Otherwise, the FA itself would take up the mantle and say, we're going to sell our own jersey, but it's not in our business, okay? So we can't do that. So the next step will be to find interested distributors for us to link Puma and the distributors so that they can be the agency and they will be selling the jersey. So we are in that conversation. let's see how soon we can end up with a deal. But this is what we intend to do: is to have the jerseys available for sale in Ghana.
But we obviously would need timelines to these because there is, we have major assignments coming up, and people. I mean, and especially at the time when we're trying to court our fans back to the stadia and get back to the big numbers.
Yes. No, we're aware of the timelines. We even have a partner in Decathlon. If you know, Decathlon is
Sure.
a partner of the Ghana Football Association, and Decathlon has agreed to give us a shop space to sell our Black Star jerseys. And with Puma, they are going to release a new design in December for January. So I think we have to wait for that time to lapse. So hopefully, like by January next year, February, we hope that we'll have our jerseys available.
Tell me about the design and who's able to make an input and who's not.
Oh, it's the Executive Council. I mean, the Ghana FA has input in it. I mean, Dr. Kofi Amwa, if he was online, he would tell you that they had input in the ones currently that we wear. Yes, which it looks like the kente, has the kente and the culture in it. They had an input into it. So the FA does have input into it.
Okay, so the Executive Council does it amongst themselves, or there's something that probably is opened up to people who are technocrats, artistic technocrats.
I can't tell you. I don't know honestly specifically. I can't comment factually on that. But all I know is that Ghana
Yeah,
does
because
put an input.
we have loads and loads of. Recently I saw an image on social media of the probable kit for Accra Hearts of Oak. This is somebody who had done his own thing, put up the combination of the rainbow colors. It was very nice, and I hope that the the management of Hearts of Oak saw that. It was on a few pages on social media, and I think it's great. So, suggestion. I mean, we could just open this
Good
up.
advice.
It'll be good. Yeah, it'll be good because you see, once we do that, it then gets to give that sense of involvement, a sense of
National involvement. Everyone
yeah,
took part
yeah,
in it.
everybody.
Advice
being
well
a part.
taken.
Yeah, very well.
That's why we're here to take advice.
Okay, Sam in the US has sent this one. He says Arsenal are playing with a nice jersey, but beauty and fashion doesn't play football. My top four will be Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Arsenal will be on the 5th spot. Okay, Sam, we hear you. I know you're not happy with your club Arsenal, but let's see how it goes for the rest of the season. This is only opening day, so let's do some more messages. Remember, it's 055 1111997, 055 1111997. Let's join the conversation. Let's be a part of this. Now, so you've spoken about the possible timelines that soon we should have relatively more affordable versions of the Black Stars replica, so
Yes.
people can get to purchase them.
Yes.
All right. Now, when it comes to headline sponsorship of the Black Stars as well, what is the situation? as
Very
we
good.
speak? Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, everyone knows that it's the government that assists to
Very well.
finance the national team. So if you see recently, the FA had spoken to the seat of power, and the president himself had breakfast meeting with several companies to try to raise funding from corporate Ghana, because we submitted a budget through the ministry of amount of resources the ministry needed to support the national team. So out of that breakfast meeting, a lot of companies attended, and currently I think the ministry is and ourselves, we're going around to see how we can get the companies who came to those meetings to gladly sponsor the national team. And I think recently, if you saw the news, we had a company called KGL NLA 590 lottery. Yeah, they're sponsoring the Black Stars, and I think even there was a presentation and signing where the minister and our FA president went to the ceremony to receive the check and sign the contract. So it's in progress. At least we've had one company who has put in a lot of resources to assist us. I think the figure was about $1 million, if you remember. It was posted on the FA website and then the ministry website as well. So that's one company. So we're hoping that as we get closer to the qualifyings, more of them will come on board and support us. So it's looking positive.
Let's also look at the the star power in our national team. Once again, you'd quickly want to refer to post 2010 World Cup, where you had a new crop of players, who had gone into the under 20 FIFA World Cup, had won it for the first time for Ghana and for Africa, and you also look at that older era of the SCNs, Muntaris, Apairs, and all of that, who possessed great star power, which brought a lot of attention and eyeballs to the Black Stars when it comes to sponsorship. Now, what are your thoughts on the current star power of the team of the Attractive? I mean, when in relation to your job and what you're doing.
No, I think Ghana will always be Ghana. Okay, it doesn't matter who wears a jersey. Honestly, I mean, even if you don't have Andre, you don't have his brother, you don't have Kudus, you don't have Pate, Ghana still, the levels that our predecessors took the team to, even from the 70s and to the era of the Appiahs and Montaris, Ghana will always still be a powerhouse. So when it comes to marketing, that's why it's slightly easier than doing the leagues. It's because of that power appeal it has. So I think currently we're okay. Yes, I mean, it's not like before how we had the ACNs and all that. And that was because they were playing all in top football, top flight football in Europe. So every time we turn on our televisions, we see them. But that's not to say that we don't have star players. I mean, the group of players we have, honestly, in terms of capabilities, it's there. I know that the coach is also working on a few of the other Ghanaians who were born outside and then playing in the top European leagues. I know the coach is working tirelessly to get them to represent their nation. I'm sure he will succeed, and when we do succeed and those players are added to the list or to the squad, the appeal of Ghana will be more. But you see, because we are in Ghana, a lot of people think that our team is not feared or star-studded. But if you go outside, Ghana is feared and highly, highly respected among Africa. We are highly respected and feared. So I think we should be proud of our team. We should support our team. And I do believe that we'll deliver. I honestly believe it. And it's with my job. I can see it. It's when it comes to the Black Stars, it's very, very patriotic. The emotions are high. Everybody wants to assist. Everybody believes that if they give even $1, it's helping the country, our nation, to try and go and achieve it. So I think we're okay in terms of our star power.
Let's also, bring it to our local Premier League. I look at some of our players and how they're gradually, growing their appeal, yes. Growing their appeal on social media, growing their public appeal and all of that. I'm even looking at someone, and we mentioned it off air. I'm looking at someone like Richard Atta, for instance, the build,
yes.
And what he did in the final of the FA Cup and the MTN FA Cup, amazing stuff. And I was just thinking, I mean, we should position this guy, of course, in consultation with his club. He should be positioned to do something for one of these brands,
Yes, you see that when it comes to the Premier League, then you have to look at the club. So
sure.
it's the onus is on to Hearts of Oak, who owns the player,
sure.
to how do you say it, portray their player, because then it affects their brand. The brand appeal increases. You see, so the FA, even as we speak, is being assisted by UEFA, and we've been doing it for over a year and a half, and they're offering us training and advice, and we're going to develop a document where we're going to give it all to the clubs, and it will assist the clubs on how to manage their brand and how to derive more sponsorship and for them to get more appeal. So, for example, Hearts can agree within its communications department and marketing department that they're going to focus on 3 or 4 of their players.
Sure.
Exactly. Sure. And then push the narrative so that you guys in the media, all you see coming from Hearts is focus on 3 or 4 of their players. So if Hearts of Oak does that, for example, using Hearts, for example, because of the players that you said. So if Hearts does that, then you, the media, will just keep on picking up on what they are pushing up, which is their players, and then their players becomes star players. And when their players become star players, more people want to watch the game. They want to see what the fuss is all about this player. Sponsors want to get aligned with the club because of Bani, because of Ata. So the clubs also have to work hard on that. But actually they are. If you look at all our clubs, through the standard policies, everybody has a communications department, everybody has a marketing department. So the clubs are doing well, and honestly, I think they're doing well in terms of advertising themselves. If you look at their media handles, social media handles, very active. Most of our clubs have Twitter handles, they have Instagram, they have Facebook. That's the future, new media.
Well, that will bring us to the note of congratulations to the head coach of Accra Hearts of Oak, Samuel Boedu, who's tying the knot today. So some wonderful pictures on social media. Congratulations to Coach Samuel Boedu, who is the Ghana Football Awards Coach of the Year as well. He received that award. There were a few people who were, trying to debate it, and then after that, he sealed off the league, sealed off the FA Cup, and by extension, the Super Cup as well. So the treble-winning coach is living a time of his life. Things are coming in. The blessings are coming in droves. And from all of us at Joy Sports is big ups to Coach Samuel Boedu. Wonderful stuff there. We're still here on the Joy Sports link on Joy99.7 FM. Keep your messages coming in. I think it's a good time to just activate the phone lines now. 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541. Here on the Joy Sports link on Joy 99.7 FM. We're talking about attracting sponsorship resources into our league, getting our players, better exposure, and looking generally at the commercial viability of our league. And we're doing this with the marketing director of the Ghana Football Association, Mr. Jamil Marabi, here on the show. Jamil, we've set time for the start of the new season, and that will be in October. We've got some time to go. How's the activity going like regarding tying a few deals here and there and making sure that people are on board firmly and safely for the next season?
Yes, I mean, this is an indication already that the league just ended, and now we have the dates for the commencement of the next league. I mean,
Sure.
No one's given us kudos for that. It's never happened before. Okay, so that shows you that we have structures in place now. We're planning. So we're trying to move as quick as possible so that we can be able to, have a sponsor before the league starts. I can only, just double my efforts and double the efforts of everybody to try and seal it before the league starts. So we just keep our fingers crossed.
And of course, as we're discussing off air as well, it's just looking like once again would have to rely heavily on state agencies who are not exactly looking for numbers in return.
Very good. Yes. So if you look at, I was telling you earlier, the companies that you think can sponsor, I mentioned the beverages, the banks, the mining agencies, they are not commercial. So they will have to sponsor, or the gas companies, they can sponsor, but it will be some CSR.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are taking gold from our land, you're taking the diamonds, you're plowing the land. So in return, you are going to support football because the passion of the nation is consumed by millions. So why don't you give back to Ghanaians by supporting their sport? So these are some of the agencies that we're trying to approach to assist us to sponsor the Ghana Premier League, because they will be in the best position to be able to give us what we want, more than the commercial.
You also own a club. Fankuba FC is your club. Now, it's a lower tier club. Now, I know that club owners go through so much, especially when you're also having to play in a league that is not necessarily giving you so much from its big sponsorship pot.
Yes.
Tell me some of the stories of what some of you, the club owners, go through in pooling resources together to get the clubs running. I advise people, football is very passionate. So you see a lot of people
who are not financially endowed, but they still run clubs.
Sure.
And they do it because of the love and the passion they have for the game. But if you don't take care, football can destroy even your marriage. The club administration and club owners will tell you how many times they were close to divorces because instead of you taking care of your son and paying his school fees, you are, taking care and buying boots and paying transportation for strangers who are not even related to you, and you're plowing all your money in there because in that level, juvenile football, Division 3, Division 2, even Division 1, there's no possibility for sponsorship. Okay, it's very difficult. So you have to use your own personal resources from your own businesses. So it's for me, if you don't have the resources, I don't see why you should start a football club. And I think the era will come one day in Ghana football where, just like we have our standards in the Premier League, the standards will come down and filtrate to the lower leagues so that not anybody can wake up one morning and say, I want to start a third division. Because, in fact, you'll be doing more harm than good because you don't have the resources. Because at that level, it's difficult to get sponsorship. Even the Premier Leagues were suffering. How much more a third division or second division? So the sponsorship from that level normally is from pocket.
From your own pocket?
That's the only way. Because at that level is development. It's not commercialization at that level, at the juvenile level, or at the third division level. It's everything. It's about development at that stage, you see. So, but for me personally, I mean, throughout my whole career, it doesn't matter what stage I've been in. I've always had sponsors. It's just, I think maybe it's just a gift.
So what's the difference? Probably is because of your area of speciality or what?
Yes, and it's a network. You see, your network is your net worth. It is a fact. So the people that you network around, it's your value. So that is what has helped. But in essence, it's very difficult for club owners, and I must commend them for sticking to the game and putting their personal resources into football.
Marriage is almost being dissolved as a result of the love of football. Interesting thoughts here on the Joy Sports Link. Remember, it's 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541. Place in your call, express your thoughts as well as we look at, issues around marketability of our league, the products in there, our players, and all of that. Okay. Now, if you had your way with all the work you're putting in, how long would you expect, certain players to remain here, if you had your own way?
If I had my own way, minimum 3 years.
Okay.
And we can only achieve that if the salary structures are controlled. You see, I also believe in democracy and markets. The market should work by itself. If not, then we become a socialist. That means that we control the way players live. That means there'll be a directive from the FA saying that you can't, maybe from the time you sign a Premier League clubs, after 3 years before you are eligible to go out of the country. But what would that mean? Can you imagine what that would mean, especially in Ghana where we value our freedoms? How will you tell a club that he can't sell his player? He owns the player, his own economic rights, and now you tell him that you can't sell. So it will be difficult, but ideally, if we had them here 3 years minimum, it will make it exciting, But
you've also been involved in player management, and you've seen a lot of these deals happen, player sale and all of that. Your involvement in all these years. Tell me about the crave. Okay, the crave out there immediately, on the continent, and then outside of it in the Gulf, in the tax-free regions of the world whose leagues may not exactly be as big as you'd expect them to be, and all of that. What's the crave like for the content or the quality that we produce here?
Exactly. That's how I was saying that. You see, here in Ghana, we don't appreciate our quality and what we have. But when you look outside, everyone looks at Ghana players. Everybody would rather have a Ghanaian player than any other African player.
Why?
Because first of all, the image of the Ghanaian player has been set very high. So our past players, okay, the Montaris, the Asians, even before that, the Yao Prekos and all that. So everybody holds the Ghanaian player as more valuable. And also the character of the Ghanaian is also different from the other African players. The Ghanaian is a bit more, how do you say it, obedient when he's in his club. He's a bit more disciplined. He's a bit more, I won't say less ambitious, but they comport themselves better. Okay, so the clubs also prefer that as well in Ghana. And also, everyone looks at Ghana in terms of our economy, our democracy. It's a beacon for in Africa. So if you have a player coming from Ghana, they are more likely to take your Ghanaian player than any other African player. This is what I've experienced over the years.
So there's quite a number of them who leave our shores. I mean, on all tiers, on all fronts, they leave our shores on a yearly basis. Quite a number.
Yes, a lot. A lot of the teams want Ghanaian players. The moment you mention you have a Ghanaian player, they're interested to see. Again, because of what has happened in the past. For me directly from the time of Abedi Pele was Tony Yeboah. So you mentioned the player. Oh yes, from Ghana. Yes, Asian Muntari, Asamoah Gyan. So Ghanaian players are valued, well valued, and you can sell a Ghanaian player more than you can sell a player from Mali, or a player from Guinea, or a player from Namibia. In fact, the Southern African players are the least marketable.
Okay.
The least marketable with the Southern African players, But this is what Ghana possesses. We have a brand that is top.
I see. Interesting thoughts there. Remember, you can also join the conversation. It's 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541. So as we speak, in the Ghana Premier League, for instance, who are the likely players you see becoming, the toast? I mean, people just going to the stadium to want to see them, because we also have to start having those conversations,
Yes, from my position, because I'm staff, I don't want to mention names because it becomes a whole different thing. But you are the journalist, so you know the players that excite you for you to be talking about it, And for me, from my experience, because remember, don't be deceived by my complexion. I was born and bred here, so I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Ghana, okay, and our beliefs and culture. If you fix two clubs, Hearts and Kotoko, if you fix these two clubs, everything will fix. If Hearts fix itself, Kotoko fix themselves. If these two clubs are doing very well, playing very well, everybody else will emulate. Everybody else will push. It will push everything. So I think it's happening. It's happening. If not because of the COVID, I think we would have been much higher than we are today. Okay, but the COVID is also a blessing. Everything is a blessing. The COVID allowed us to rewind, assess, and come down and say to ourselves, okay, which direction are we going to take our football? Okay, and it's happening. Maybe not as fast as you might like, but if we look carefully at the signs, the football is stabilizing, the football is growing. And I was very happy that this time you saw the competition, like back when I was in a teenage, the competition between the two clubs, our two most glamorous clubs. And it's because of the sentiments behind it. If you're from Accra or you're from Cape Coast, you're from here, you're likely to support
a certain club.
Yes. And then if you're from another region, definitely you are bound and you support another club. Okay, so all the emotions are high. And so once these emotions are high, then you can talk about the other ones, like Midiema, who's doing so well, Adriana, Chelsea, then they also become powerful. You see, but if our two biggest clubs don't become the powerhouse like they were before, then we will develop slowly. Okay, it's not that we'll not develop, but it will be slow. But what Heart is doing right now and Kotoko is doing, it's in line. Okay, so we're very happy with that, and we know that next season it will be on fire.
Let's talk about third force, but before that, let me just activate the phone line one more time. I beg your pardon. I think that we had a little issue there, so you can call now 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541. Get through to us. Let's have this conversation as we head towards the finish line of the show. We've got just about some 10 minutes to wrap it up. Yes, just 10 plus 2 minutes to wrap it up. 0302216541. Let's talk about a possible third force. In the English Premier League, for instance, you have a bit of a spread, even though you have, a Manchester United and a Liverpool who, obviously, in terms of the achievements, are way, way bigger than all the others. But you clearly have a fine spread for various reasons. Here in Ghana, it's Hearts and Kotoko. Are we able to see those third forces and grow them and push them so that the appeal can maybe not necessarily equal, but
Yes.
compete with? Because I'll give you an example. In the early 90s, because of the strength of the then Ashanti Goldfields, led by Mr. Sam Jonah, Captain Andy Sam and the like, and all the people, we saw Goldfields
That's
Football
good.
Club push a great deal and become a very viable third
Dominant
force. Okay, we had the traditional Accra Greats Olympics who made their achievements in the 70s and were, so third forces and a possible third and fourth force in Ghana football.
Yes. First of all, I think it's finance. So if you look at the clubs in England you're talking about, all those clubs who are fighting for titles all have finance. Okay, all have they have owners or boards that can push in.
They have the muscle.
Exactly. So if you look in Ghana, perhaps the third force, it can be Midiama, it can be Ash Gold, it can be Olympics. I mean, Olympics will always be a force, okay, because of the emotions attached to the club and the rivalry between between the two Accra clubs. So and Chelsea. You see, and these clubs I'm mentioning to you, if you look at them closely, they are community-based. Aduana is for the community of Aduana, you see, and they have the finance. Ash Gold is for the Obuasi, the people in that region. They do have the finance most of the time. Mediema, the same thing. It's for the community. The club owner is financially well endowed. So when you when you have a club that is tied to the community and you have the finance, you can be a force. So these are the things that will assist you to be a force. Apart from that, I don't see how you can be a force if you don't have finance and if you're not tied to the community who will give you the support base when your opponents come to your home ground and your stadium is full. That's the 12th player, you see. So these are my third forces, I think.
Okay, Godwin has sent another message and is talking about, he has feedback about the comments about Ghanaian players being in demand everywhere. He wants to compare that to maybe like Nigerian players and how, and he says that now Ghanaian players like to go to Asia as against Europe or something like that. I'm not getting the message very well. So he says that, for instance, maybe other nationals may be in bigger demand than we are.
No, it's not true. I mean, all due respect to
Godwin.
To Godwin,
Sure.
He's not in the industry, so he only sees what he reads, and players from Ghana going to elsewhere in Malaysia, because the Malaysians want them. If you tell a Malaysian, I have a Guinea player, a Mali player, and I have a Ghanaian player, who's he going to take? You take the Ghanaian player. So it doesn't mean that they are not valuable. It's rather the opposite. Ghanaian players are valuable. So everywhere in the world you go, there will be a Ghanaian player.
All right, some more messages. Okay, this one from my former producer. The show is very educative, good show. Thank you very much, Ernest Boama, listening to the show. Okay, now this one is not signed. Please sign the messages asking. Kindly ask Jamil what role HTL plays in the Ghana Premier League.
What's HTL?
HTL. Can you please be clear on that message, and also please add your name as well. Okay. All right. So this one is from Jonas in Lashibi, and he wants to have a full list of the players who have been called up by Coach C.K. Akono. I'll be doing that for you very, very shortly. Thank you very much. 0302216541 if you're able to get through to us. 0302216541. Okay, so you're saying that there is a possibility of a third and a fourth force. It's the only common denominator here is the money has to be there.
Yes, that's the first and foremost is the finance. Yes, once you have the finance, and the next will be your support base, because when you're playing against a team and you know that the whole city, the moment you drive in there, is behind the team, it's a factor for success.
Yeah, now let's talk about how much support the likes of Brecum Chelsea, for instance, when they got into the Ghana Premier League. And I remember very well speaking to the legends. At the time, they had a strong board. Mr. Emmanuel Treme, you had Tony Yeboah, and all on the board. Yes. So the performances then led to getting the community to follow. Is that it?
Yes.
And is that the case all the time?
Yes, I mean, look, even the name of the club is Brecum. So they were wise enough to tie it to the Brecum
So there is a
area.
sentimental attachment.
Exactly. And then, of course, they all like Chelsea, so they put the Chelsea to it. So you have the Brecum Chelsea.
A fine mixture.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a smart move, and it's the best move, for you to have a club that you own it by yourself. I always give an example of Inter Allies. Privately owned, you don't tie it to any community. So you've been in existence for close to 20 years. You have no support base. And it's because they never tied it to any community. You see, and if they had tied it to the community, 20 years down the line, you could have built a support base, be it at Tema, be it at Ashaman, be it at Nungwa, be it at Labadi, but nothing of that sort was done. So you're been in existence over 20 years, and you can't even count that you have 100 fans, or you have 200 fans, or 500 fans. So it's key to tie football to the community. And it's normally you tie it to the area where you train, or where the club was birthed.
So typical example, Liberty Professionals, where you previously worked as a marketing consultant?
Yes, Dansoman. Yes,
Yeah.
I tried to do a lot of work with Sly. May he rest in peace.
Amen.
Yes, we went around schools giving donations to the Dansoman area. We used to use the announcement vans to go across on Fridays before the game day
There
to
was
announce.
also, health walks and
Exactly. Yeah, so we
Yeah.
did that to tie it to the community, and that's around the same time that we got the sponsorship from Panasonic.
Panasonic. I remember very well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's key. It's key that you tie your club because a lot of revenue will come from that as well. You spoke about merchandising. If you have fan base, you can have merchandising. If you have no fan base, you can't even produce replica jerseys. Who will buy it? You know what I mean? Second 11 wise, my own experience. The moment you drive into that city, 70% everybody is a wise. We used to bring the replica jerseys from China, I remember, and we bring them in thousands. And as soon as they arrive, we sell them all. I mean, there was no shortage of people wanting to buy the jerseys. So this is some of the things that if our clubs do, you will realize that it becomes a position of strength, and then corporate bodies always follow numbers. Everyone follows numbers. So once you have the numbers, you get sponsorship. And that's why even back at those times when we had 11 Wides, immediately we had One Touch sponsoring, and we were in Division 2. We qualified Division 1, still One Touch was sponsoring. And the moment we came to Premier, guess what happened? MTN took over. Because of numbers. Traditional club, tied to the community, numbers. You go to the stadium, minimum is 5,000. When you're playing big clubs, 15,000. You see, so if clubs can work with their community to attract more people to come into the stadium to watch games, and then, of course, the competition will also assist in terms of TV, like Dr. Amma was saying. Once there are millions of eyeballs watching, you can expose the game to a larger audience. Then the finance and the monetary aspect of the game increases.
Well, interesting thoughts there. Well, Jamil, we sure are going to be having a lot more conversations as we continue to, improve the efforts on building our product. It's been wonderful having you here on the show. And Jamil is also a son-in-law of a legend of the game as well. He's a son-in-law of an AFCON winner, so he has a lot of history to him on all sides.
Yes,
Jamil,
true.
it's been wonderful, sharing your thoughts. final thoughts as we wrap this up.
Yes, I want to encourage our clubs to always think of their football as a business. Once they think of the game as a business, they will generate their revenue. I also want them to know that the FA and my department, we are open to all the clubs. Our doors are open. You can come in for help. We can assist you. We can guide you, and we can do it together, so that they will individually get their own sponsors, and not always rely on the competition to get the sponsors. The competition will get the sponsor, but then they must also build their own finance and their own success. So we're open to them for help if they want help. We are there, but nevertheless, we're going to send out documentation soon to every club to assist them with some guidelines. And remember, Nat, if football is doing well, the whole country is happy. People forget about their problems. People forget about their some troublesome wives. They'll tell the wife, "Oh, this Sunday I have a match. This Saturday we have a match." An excuse to leave the house, to leave the children. So football stimulates the economy. It does. It stimulates the economy. Everybody is happy. The following Monday, everybody's talking about the games and they're teasing each other. That's why the Europeans created the European Championship. It was political. It wasn't commercial. It was to make sure they know where the hooligans go, where they know the masses go every week in, week out, to control them and not let them misbehave. The government uses football
to calm things down.
Exactly. To let the people be calm. So once our football it's doing well and it's vibrant, you see that everything else is sweet.
Well, to our texter who sent in the message, so this is what it's looking like, the preliminary squad, and we'll be looking at this in detail as we prepare ourselves for these big games that the Black Stars is involved in. Goalkeepers: Richard Ofori of Orlando Pirates, Lawrence Atizigi of St. Gallen FC, Manaf Nuruddin of Kasyupen in Belgium, and Richard Atta of Accra Hartsvik. Richard Atta also making a return there. Let's go to the fullbacks, and it's Benson Annan of Zelena FC, Andrew Yadom of Reading FC, Baba Abdul Rahman of Chelsea, Gideon Mensah of Bordeaux, and Philemon Bafo of Dreams FC. Let's talk about centre-backs, and it's Alexander Jiku of Strasbourg, Leicester City's Daniel Amate, Ismail Ganiu of Asante Kotoko, and Jonathan Mensah, the captain of Columbus Crew. Well, let's talk about the midfield now, and it's Mubarak Wakaso of Shenzhen, Idrisu Baba of Mallorca, Arsenal's Thomas Partey, and Emmanuel Lomote of Amiens in France. Now for the wingers is Joel Famir of Orenburg FC, Samuel Owusu of Al Fayed, Spezia's Emmanuel Jesse, Kamaldeen Suleiman of Rennes, and Tariq Fosu of Brentford, as well as Steadfast FC's Fatau Isahaku, the most valuable youth player on the African continent. Attacking midfielders, Efriye Bani of Accra Hartsville, Kudus Mohammed of Ajax FC, Majid Ashimeru of Anderlecht, and for strikers is Andre Ayew Al-Sad, Jordan Ayew of Crystal Palace, Kwame Opoku, USM Alger, and Kelvin Yeboah of Storm Graz. These are the players, and of course it will be cut down as we get ourselves ready for the game. Well, the very adorable Hannah Odami is here with the Joy Headline News. You heard her with a rap earlier, but she's back here in person with the Joy Headline News at 2. Thanks again to all of you for doing the listening. Immediately after this, the man George Quay will be taking over with Showbiz A to Z. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.
2 o'clock.
And welcome to Joy Headline News at 2. Private legal practitioner Martin Pegbu is insisting that Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu has been involved in a pattern of breaches of the procurement laws of the country. There's currently pressure mounting on the minister to resign or sacked over his involvement in the botched Sputnik V procurement saga, although the payment